We've got Gemma, whose name I can pronounce, and
Begum.
Begum. Welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Begum Avdagic, product manager in Dewhurst, where I work on engineering-driven data management.
And I'm Gemma Moore, the account manager at Dewhurst, and I look after our key clients here in the UK, helping deliver lift solutions that really meet the needs of buildings and their users. So together, we will be presenting the potential of digital out-of-home advertising. We'll refer to that as DOOH for the presentation in the lift industry. And we will be exploring how lifts can become one of the most powerful touch points for digital advertising. Before we dive in, we're going to go through a quick overview of today's session. It will take around 20 minutes and we'll follow the structure of our paper. First, the big picture, then lift-specific opportunities. First, we'll step slightly outside of the lift industry to explore digital out-of-home advertising, what it is, why it's growing fast, and why it's relevant. Then we're going to bring it right back into your buildings.
First, I would like to start by explaining what exactly is digital out-of-home, or simply put, DOOH. So it's any digital screen-based advertising that you see in public spaces, from billboards in city centers to screens into metro stations, shopping malls, and even airports. Here you can see some examples, which are all very vibrant, constantly changing, and highly engaging. Unlike static posters, DOOH is interactive, measurable, and updated in real time. It's outdoor advertising, but smarter and data-driven. And before we look at the growth numbers, I would like to talk about how DOOH is actually valued and measured. Traditional posters, many of you are familiar, they are sold simply by their size and their location. But DOOH is different. It's measured by impressions, so the actual number of people who are actually seeing it. And advertisers by campaigns based on CPM, or cost per 1,000 impressions, just like in digital marketing. And to make this real, I would like you to play this video, yes. Let's take one of London's most iconic advertising spaces in Waterloo, BFI IMAX. So this isn't just a small billboard, it's the largest advertising canvas in Europe. And it's seen by 3 million people every week. And a single month-long campaign here can cost a brand like Costa Coffee well over $500,000. And that is the power of impressions in action. The bigger the audience, the higher the value. And this model is scaling fast. Globally, the DOOH revenue was around 20 billion in 2024 and is expected to nearly double by 2030, growing at about 11% annually. So with urbanization, smart infrastructure, and the demand for targeted data-driven campaigns, which are all driving this rapid expansion.
Now, let's bring that back into the lift environment. In the UK, there are over 340,000 lifts, rising to more than 407,000 by the year 2030. In busy office buildings, a single lift can make hundreds of journeys every day. And here's the key difference. Unlike a billboard you glance at briefly, each journey gives about 30 seconds of dwell time. That's 30 seconds where people are naturally looking forward, if they're not on the phone, obviously. A perfect spot for digital messaging. If we assume an average of 8 people per ride across those 340 journeys, that means a single lift screen can generate around 2,700 impressions every single day. And remember, that's just one lift in one building. This is why measurability matters. Just like the BFI IMAX, lift screens are valued by impressions. Only here, instead of featuring glances on the street, you've got a captive audience, frequent exposure, and contextually relevant messaging, making lifts one of the most effective DOOH environments. Sorry. So far, we've seen why lifts are such a powerful environment for DOOH. Now, let's shift gears into our next section, infrastructure. Because having the right foundation is what makes all of this possible. Here's what many lifts still have today. Traditional paper notices, cluttered, static, and hard to update. They don't exactly reflect a modern building environment. Now, watch as they transform. Ultra-thin, flush-mounted digital screens replace the old boards seamlessly. They're vibration-resistant, heat-tolerant, and fully compliant with safety regulations.
Now let's look about what happens lift-based DOH running. So the core is connectivity and power. Today lifts are more connected than ever, and that makes implementing DOH easier than ever. And thanks to external antennas and LTE modems, the lift is no longer an isolated place, but it's part of the building's digital ecosystem. And through the same backbone, now we support 3 key connected systems: emergency communication, IoT devices, and multimedia displays. With all together, these make lift not just safer, but also smarter and more engaging. And as many of you are familiar with the UK's PSTN switch-off in 2027, digital connectivity is becoming critical for both compliance and uninterrupted services. And finally, cloud-based content management and remote monitoring means smooth playback, scalable operations, and seamless integration into the smart building networks. And connectivity is just the start. The real transformation happens when lifts are integrated into the building management system. So now we can finally imagine a world where the lift screen becomes the window into your entire building. From the moment that you enter to the building, to your day in the office, to when you leave. And the lift keeps you informed. So it could show you room occupancy, like floor 2 is 75% full. It could display energy usage, and even car park availability can be transmitted straight to the lift display. So in short, anything that the building owner wants to showcase, communicate, it can now be surfaced right here. And once the screen is disconnected, it can truly become contextual. So at 8 a.m., you can display news and weather updates, perfectly timed for the morning commute. At 5 p.m., the same screen can switch to brand promotions and lifestyle content, truly aligned with the rhythm of the building. So this what makes the lift-based DOH so powerful. It's not just advertising, but smart, adaptive communication channel.
Modernisation doesn't have to be all or nothing. In fact, the smartest approach is phased. Let's walk through a modular path that's already working in many buildings. Phase 1, facelift. This is the most visual upgrade. Screens, push buttons, and car interiors. It's where aesthetics meet user experience, and where DOOH can make its biggest impact. Phase 2, compliance upgrades. These ensure the lift meets current and safety accessibility standards. For example, EN 81 2050 or EN 8170, auto dialers and IoT monitoring. These upgrades are essential for the legal and operational peace of mind. Phase 3, full modernisation. This is a deep technical overhaul. Controllers, door operating panels and shafts works. It's all about future-proofing the lift system for decades to come. And to bring this to life, I'll show you a real example. We took a dated old notice board, the kind you will recognise, and we brought it through phase 1 and phase 2. Now it features a sleek multimedia digital screen, fully compliant lighting and accessibly upgrades with no disruption. Just smart, staged transformation that's already delivering value.
Now let's talk about what good content actually looks like inside the lift. And it's just one add-on repeat, but it's a curated mix that feels relevant and useful. So please take a look at these screens. There's a welcome message from the building, live weather updates, a tube status for nearby stations, and then commercial ads, a protein bar in the morning and a travel agency ad in the evening. So this blend keeps passengers engaged. It's both contextual, dynamic, and because dwell times are predictable, every message has a time to land. So Lyft DOH isn't just advertisement, but it's part of the building's voice.
So, how do you manage all that content across hundreds of screens? This is where programmatic advertising and smart content management come in. Here is a CMS dashboard showing every active screen, what's playing and its status. From here, you can edit content in real time, schedule campaigns, monitor performance, all from that one place. For advertisers, it means agility. For example, morning fitness ads, evening travel deals. For operators, it means control and efficiency. Relevant content every hour without manual updates. It's advertising that works harder with less effort.
So now let's skip to connected journeys. And connected journeys are more about just getting from A to B. They're about moving through a world where digital system and physical spaces work hand in hand. And the goal is to have a seamless, efficient, and a personalized travel. Take Lyft, for example. Passenger on Irish Rail can already check Lyft availability at stations in real time. That's accessibility in action. Now imagine what happens when Lyft displays themselves become part of their journey. So screen inside the Lyft could deliver actionable information, such as train times as you head down to the platform, or wayfinding prompts to guide you through a complex building, or looking ahead, even facial recognition that helps you find your car in a complex shopping mall car park. So the Lyft is no longer just a cabin, but it transforms into this dynamic link into the passenger's day.
Let's turn to the stakeholders. These are the people shaping the future of digital modernisation in Lyft spaces. To understand their views, we ran a targeted industry survey across residential, commercial and hospitality sectors, including Lyft contractors, building owners and consultants. These are the decision makers when it comes to upgrading Lyft environments. Here's what we found. 63% have digital screens somewhere in their buildings, but only 38% have them inside the lifts. The gap is a major opportunity, especially in commercial and real estate and high-end residential, where expectations of modern amenities are rising fast. The appetite is there and the timing is right.
Let's now talk about monetization. This isn't just turning Lyft into ad machines, but it's about creating a model where screens help pay for themselves without compromising the building's identity nor the passenger experience. So our survey showed the biggest perceived value was better internal communication, followed by modernizing the building and providing dynamic updates. And advertising alone isn't the draw. The system has to bring real building benefits first. When asked about paying directly for a digital communication system, about 3/4 said yes or maybe, but cost sensitivity was clear. Most were open to external ads, but only if the building kept the control. So what's the answer? It should be a hybrid model. Most screen time for building messages, alerts, and community content, and a smaller share for curated and relevant ads. And that way, monetization supports the system, not undermines it. It's value first, not ad first.
When we talk about innovation in the Lyft DOOH, it really comes down to making screens smarter, more sustainable, and more impactful. On the smart side, AI-driven targeting already allows content to adapt in real time. That makes campaigns more memorable, more relevant, and timely. On the sustainable side, new technologies are emerging. Today's LCD and LED screens are powerful, but alternatives like the e-ink can dramatically reduce power usage and heat, a major advantage in the confined space of a lift. But we also need more evidence, more behavioural and more ROI research will give us the confidence to scale. So, the future of DOOH is clear. Smart, sustainable and evidence-driven innovation, turning screens from simple displays into an integral part of a smart building experience.
So digital out-of-home advertisement isn't the future, it's already here. And lifts are a golden opportunity. Why? Because they are used constantly by everyone. In central London alone, commercial lifts see tens of thousands of journeys every day, a prime chance for high impact and interactive communication. But it's not just about installing screens. It's about smart integration with the right tech, with the connected system, and content that people actually care about. Done right, these screens can become powerful touchpoints for communication, for revenue generation, and for making buildings feel smarter and more connecting. That is the real potential of DOOH in lifts, turning everyday rides into meaningful moments. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Really interesting. Any questions from the audience? Matthew's got one at the front.
Who is responsible for? Oh, should I say Matthew Appleby, Peter Rees? I don't really need to do that. Who is responsible for the ethical considerations of what does and doesn't get advertised on those screens?
So I would put that down to the building owner, because obviously they know that the people that are in that building. But also, if they're using any content management advertising companies, for example, we work with one called ECN. It would be down to that as well. So obviously, they'd have to work together to look at the best advertising or features to go within that lift in that building.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe following up on that. So there are multiple different stakeholders when it comes to ethical concerns and everything. So actually there are 4 different stakeholders. So it's going to be depending on the contract as well. If you give the management of the content to the building owner, it's building owner. If you say 100% it's our partner ECN, that's ECN. So that's going to depend on a building by building cases.
Just one more from Jason.
Yes, just a couple of points. I did look at this actually for the States because our code compliant 2019 screen for the States for the messaging and so forth, of course it's blank most of the time until you press an emergency call. So I was very excited to talk to ad companies about the potential to use that. But the main issue was that it was typically mounted at a relatively low level, especially when the buttons were incorporated. Then it had to be at a certain height. So firstly, it's important, as you've shown there, to have the screen up quite high to allow people to visually recognize it. But certainly it was quite interesting, but obviously I didn't make any progress in that respect. The other thing that I was interested in Australia was some of these larger format screens and a more immersive experience. And I haven't really seen that taken off many other places. I remember a toy store in Sydney, just one lift had been converted to take children to the moon. I think it's probably quite famous actually, but I didn't go in there myself. But yeah, there are clearly suppliers of these larger format LED screens.
So you are, sorry to interrupt, so for example, the Empire State Building that you can see everything?
Yeah,
like that's
through the centuries.
Yeah, 360.
So I'm surprised more advantage hasn't been taken of that, perhaps. But anyway.
I think it's coming. It's definitely coming.
Okay. So anyway, that's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.